he asked if I wanted to stop by a mutual friend of ours' house because he wanted to pick up some cocaine. And I said sure. He asked me if I wanted to go up. He knew it had been a long time since I'd seen Peter. I parked the car and we went up there and he had 6 of his friends waiting for me. I remember them like having sex with me. I don't remember them hurting me. Like physically beating me or anything like that. I guess after like the 3rd or 4th one I passed out. And when I came to, they had put me in his wife's running path in the park and left me there. She loaded me up in her car and took me to a hotel room. One of her friends was a doctor and he came over and checked me out. She got round-the-clock nurses and bodyguards for me. Like 3 weeks later, my eyes got to where I could see. They were still all black and blue, but they weren't swollen shut anymore. My name is Mars. That's my mother's tacky sense of humor. And I left home when I was 13 because my stepbrother raped me. And I didn't try and find my real father because he was going to have me raped anyway, according to my mother. So I ended up being on the street, living in a lot of different places. And now I live in Boston and I work as a stripper.
I think it is very strange that older men like little girls because they're perverts is what they is. I mean, I like the money, but I don't like them. I used to at least bring in $300, $400. And for a blowjob, it would be 30 on it. And for a lady, it would be like 40 on it. Most of these veterinary hoes would charge more than, us little kids do. I mean, I used to turn dates lots and lots of times, just about every day. I'd be pulling dates day and night, day and night. And it's just like I got dusted 5 times because I don't pull dates that I don't know.
And then make the daddy swing to meet the bad thing. Now take off.
Okay, you tell me you want me to take the pants off, or do you want to take the pants off?
Okay, the daddy took off the pants so we could put the little shower in the hot.
Okay.
Okay. Invoke her in hiding.
Okay. And then we'll pretend, okay? Now when I say we'll pretend, we're just going to pretend that the dolls are doing it, because it makes me a little unhappy to really do that to the dolls.
Okay.
All right. So you tell me if that's...
We're going like that.
Okay. Okay, and then what else?
Laughter with his clothes on.
Okay. Does he slap her with his hand?
Yeah.
Okay. And anything else?
No.
Okay. Does he slap her with his clothes on? Should I put his clothes back on? Or does he slap her without the clothes on? Okay. 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 Is that somewhere?
The other one, sleeping in and she got pooped, okay? Okay, she got pooped.
Okay.
Here, now. Daddy was along and pooped her.
Okay.
There.
Okay. All right, and then? Show me what the other scary... Sweetheart, okay.
Daddy does. I didn't.
Okay. Tell me where he puts it. Okay, what is that?
No.
Okay, where else does he put it? Okay, what do you call that? Okay, where else does he put it?
My dear.
Okay, where else does he put it?
He's a very scary person, and when I look at him, I don't look at him for how do I see him. I look at him for how did he look to my son. He must have been very scary. In the shades of the tree, overpowering him like that, I can't imagine how scared my son must have felt. I only know that he felt very compelled to do whatever he had to do, and that when it was over with, he was going to try to find a way to get home.
Mm-hmm.
The people that did find him, we were really very fortunate that they found him as quick as they did, and they responded as fast as they did, because it's what really did save his life.
He makes me sick. From when I was little, he was a pervert and shit. When every time I remember that, every time I remember what he did to me, when he took advantage of me and shit.
I didn't
when
know.
I didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know it until you started asking me.
But you wouldn't tell me then.
I told you that he did. When he asked me if he did a certain thing, I said yeah. And then when he went told him, ever since then he's hated me.
Yeah, we didn't do it anymore.
So I still hate him for doing it to begin with.
So my stepbrother decided to have a live-in sex partner. So I put up with it for 10 months, and then I left. Told her I wasn't going to lay her stepson anymore to keep our marriage together. It's really not easy being on your own at 13. Your friends all think you're weird. They don't understand why you can't spend time at ball games or cheerleader practice or whatever.
I don't know how it started. I remember I used to climb into bed with my mother and father a lot. My father used to always grab my ass. And my mother went to church. He used to come in my room on Sundays and touch me, fill me up, and make me do things to him while when he was in the bathroom. He used to call me in. After he was done doing what he did doing his thing, he used to bribe me. He used to take me to the drugstore and buy me stuff every Sunday. At the drugstores on the corner. And it seemed like a pretty good deal. He took me to the church one night. And we were upstairs in his minister's office. And he was sitting at the chair behind the desk. And so he called me over. He goes, give your father a hug. So I give him a hug and he starts feeling up with something. So I start to pull away and he goes, what's the matter with you? Don't want to give your father a hug anymore? And I go, I don't like it. I don't know about something about him touching me. And I didn't like it. And I just wanted to get away and I just started crying. So he got really pissed off and started yelling, don't love your father no more. So we had to leave. So we get home, right? And I'm crying in tears. My father's screaming out. My mother meets us at the door. What's the matter? What's the matter? So I didn't want your father a hug anymore. So I went to bed. Everybody was mad at me because I didn't want to give my father a hug anymore. And when my father beat me, I felt like, I guess, like it was okay. Like it happened to everybody. And when I got older, I felt, I don't know, used. Like, used in a sense, I really didn't know what used meant. I just felt like, what's the word I'm gonna use? I felt, I was afraid. And my father never threatened to, like, kill me or anything like that, you know. He was a really intimidating person. I was just, like, afraid. Like, it was such a big secret. I felt ashamed, you know, like, the world was going to find out. And it just wasn't right, you know, like, I knew.
It was a typical Saturday evening after dinner. He wanted to go out and play, and there was a good 2 hours of light left, and it was a reasonable request. He left, and at about 8:30, I started thinking, well, in my mind, it's getting dark, and so he should be starting to come home. By 9 o'clock, he hadn't come home, and I started phoning various friends and discovered that he wasn't at any of those places. I started looking for him, thinking the whole time that as soon as I get home, he'll be there, and I'm just going to really give it to him. But, of course, he wasn't there when I got home. And then the panic starts to escalate because you start running out of alternatives, although you keep thinking there must be something else happening that I'm just not thinking of.
Is he at Josh's house? He was at this house?
He must have gone indoors, he's watching TV, and he doesn't even realize it's dark. There's probably some reasonable explanation, and I'll hear it when he gets home, and then after that, he'll have to deal with the punishment. By 10 o'clock, after I'd cruised the neighborhood two times looking for him, I had to break down and phone the police. And that in itself is a major step when you have to admit that things have gotten beyond your control. The police were very sympathetic, and I was really glad about that because I kind of expected more ramifications and more questions from them than just...
Yeah, how long? Because he hadn't been gone for how long?
For very long. He was due back by dark, which technically would have been 9 o'clock, and so I'd only been really missing an hour. But they told me to stay by the phone and stay home, that someone would either phone me or come by. Within an hour, the police officer and the police staff chaplain came to my house. The chaplain by himself is a major statement. I mean, not too many times do those people come to your house. I listened as calmly as I could as they informed me that they were pretty sure they had my boy, that he was alive, but that he had been sexually assaulted and he was in the hospital and I needed to go down. I don't remember too much more beyond that. My whole system started shutting down. All I could think of was, he's alive. There's something I need to do. And so I got my shoes on and I got in the car and drove down to the emergency room, and the staff at the hospital was really very, very supportive. My mother had gone with me, and they took us into a conference room, and the chief surgeon or staff, Dr. Coombs, came in to tell us the details of what had happened. There was a psychologist there with us also in order to help us through this. The more people that are there, the more tragic you know it's going to be, and yet I was not at all prepared for what the doctor had to say. He asked what we'd already been told, and I told him basically nothing. You might as well start from the top. And if I could take back those words, I would love to, because the irony was he started from the top. He had been strangled, he'd been stabbed, and his penis had been severed, which is not exactly castration, but it is quite a dramatic mutilation.
My real dad, I've never known. He could be a guy that's really rich, driving a Mercedes, you know, or he could be one of these bums on the streets. I don't know. I really want to meet him. For all I know, you know, he could be one of these dates going around. I could have dated him for all I know.
No child should, as happened to my child, have a judge deem their risk of rape to be 50% and to have unsupervised visits increased 400%. That should not be allowed. If there's a risk of abuse, the child must be protected until it is known that the child will be safe. In my case, we are drowning in evidence. You almost never in an abuse case have what we have, which is an articulate child giving a consistent story to expert after expert, incest experts confirming the abuse as among the worst they have ever seen, an eyewitness account from an older sibling, both girls with the vaginal scars of sexual penetration, and the older girl having a founded case in the Social Service Department of Virginia. Also, I had more resources than any other protecting mother. I had more evidence and more resources. If my child cannot be safe, no child in this country can be safe. The day that my child is safe is the day that there is hope for other children.
She was a 3.5-year-old child who was able to tell me very complex sexual details. And at the same time, she was showing what you would think would be the appropriate emotional response to that. Shame, guilt, fear, sometimes terror, anger, all those things at appropriate times. And to imagine that a 3-year-old could be coached to carry out that level of complex behavior without somebody in the room, helping her do that is just ludicrous.
You know, I don't know about other children. Hillary could not have been coached to tell such a story. She was a very disturbed child. She couldn't have maintained any fiction. She was in physical and emotional pain all the time and was talking about what was making her suffer. I mean, when she began to talk about the abuse, she'd often just start to scream, and she'd fall on the floor and just claw the air and scream for help. I mean, it's just ludicrous to think that a child could be acting. She obviously wasn't.
You're not going away from your mother. Whatever. Is this a weekend? Daddy wants to see you. Okay.
I want to see my mommy.
What? You don't want to see Daddy?
I don't want to.
He loves you.
I don't want to go.
And I really cannot talk about it.
Would you go with your mother to be smile? Can you say any reasons why you don't want to go?
Because I had not been able to protect her,
I want to go.
and I had not been able to tell her what she was asking me to do.
No, I want to see my mommy.
And she was just taken out of our home to be sexually molested. I still can't believe that it happened.
I don't want to see you.